Hi guys, today's video is about Arthur Pendragon from the Seven Deadly Sins universe. Let's start. Before jumping straight into his current participation in the Four Knights of the Apocalypse anime, let's find out who Arthur was before turning into the King of Chaos. Arthur Pendragon was a kind, noble, and optimistic character. Despite his youth, he took his responsibilities as the King of Camelot seriously, and was always willing to put himself in danger to protect his kingdom. Because of this kind-hearted personality, he was well-liked by those around him, and he strives to make life better for everyone. Before his coronation, Arthur lived a modest life, far removed from grandeur. He was raised in the household of King Arthur Pendragon. He grew up alongside his adoptive brother, Kay. Although Arthur quickly adapted to the expectations of courtly life and won the admiration of the kingdom's nobles and servants with his kind-heartedness, Kay harbored growing resentment toward him, fueled by envy. As boys, Kay once tested Arthur's courage with a dangerous challenge. Blindfolded and armed only with a stick, Arthur had to smash an apple while balancing precariously on a narrow ledge above a treacherous ravine. Arthur completed the feat with remarkable poise, further infuriating Kay. In a fit of rage, Kay hurled a weapon at Arthur, causing him to lose his footing and tumble into the gorge. Arthur's life was saved by the timely intervention of a mysterious knight clad in brilliant armor. The knight, intrigued by Arthur's fearlessness and his willingness to forgive Kay for his actions, revealed himself to be King Bartra, of a neighboring kingdom. Bartra declared that Arthur possessed the qualities of a true ruler, and prophesied a great destiny for the boy. Years later, Arthur's path crossed with Merlin, a legendary sorceress and wise mentor, who took him under her guidance, because she saw great potential in him. At the age of 15, a miraculous event shook the land. A colossal sword descended from the sky and embedded itself into the earth at the heart of Camelot. King Arthur decreed that only the one worthy of leadership could draw it from the stone. For weeks, knights and nobles from across the land attempted the feat in vain. When Arthur approached the blade, he pulled it free with ease, marking him as Camelot's future king. Unable to accept this turn of events, Kay deceived Arthur into relinquishing the sword and claimed credit for the deed. His lie unraveled when Merlin, armed with magical insight, exposed the truth. Arthur, outraged by Kay's betrayal, sentenced him to imprisonment. Yet, despite the bitterness and cruelty Kay directed toward him, Arthur visited his brother in his cell regularly, bringing him food and even pleading for his release. Well, so far Arthur seems like a very, very good guy, but it's not that simple. In the sequel of the Seven Deadly Sins, he became the King of Chaos, and it turned him into a completely different person. Now he's manipulative and feels close to no empathy for others. His current goal is to eliminate all other races, believing that the existence of different races is the biggest obstacle to achieving peace. And about this new Arthur, there's an interesting question. How much of it is really him? How could he change so much? There are two explanations, and each of them has its merit. The first is that he's like this because of the destruction of his kingdom during the Holy War, which was caused by other races. Because of this, he has these new problematic goals. But it's 99% certain that this isn't the only, and even the main thing that caused this sudden change in Arthur. The second factor is the power of chaos itself. In chapter 154, Arthur lends the power of chaos to two of his knights, Pelagard and Ironside. Through this, we learn there's a price to obtaining this power, which, according to Arthur himself, is to abandon your human side. Both knights had people they genuinely cared about. Ironside had his son Diodora, and Pelagard had his wife Fiona. After absorbing the power of chaos, they both completely forgot and neglected their loved ones. Pelagard, right after obtaining the power, couldn't even remember who Fiona was, and Ironside asked Diodora to leave his house and acted rudely towards him, showing he didn't care about his son anymore. So, the power of chaos has the price of stripping away their humanity, and it's likely the same happened to Arthur. To strengthen this theory, when Arthur was questioned by one of his knights about why he didn't do it before, he answered that it wasn't so simple because it required their nod. He also said, "But worst of all, I feared pulling them into this, the insipid human side of me, I guess." This suggests that it's not Arthur's fault at all. Because of how chaos controls those who possess its power, it's clear that Arthur is more a vessel than a wielder of chaos. Interestingly, in one way or another, Arthur's new goals align with old Arthur's to some extent. He still wants to create a peaceful kingdom. The big difference lies in their methods. And if this wasn't enough, during chapter 159 of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse manga, Arthur's brother Kay was questioned by Percival about who Arthur really is as a person. Kay recounts Arthur's story and the entire situation about him being imprisoned, and Arthur holding no grudge against him, and says this is the kind of person Arthur is. But Percival then asks, "So why don't you report us to him?" Kay answers, "Because what you see now isn't at all the Arthur I know. I'd make any effort possible to get my old brother back, even if it means lending a hand to those hostile to him." This practically confirms the theory that something very similar, if not the same, happened to Arthur as it did to Ironside and Pelagard. So, that was it for today.